Hi.
Welcome. So happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's really nice to meet you guys and hello to all of your audience.
So, Julia, me and you had a conversation before this interview, and it was really, really interesting when we had the discussion on how this all came about. Can you maybe tell our listeners your backstory, how it all happened that you got involved with money mindset? Because you're a chartered accountant, right? And
Yeah.
how did this all change?
Okay, so basically, it all started with a divorce. I had a career in corporate finance and wealth management, and I got married and had children. My husband was in the same field, and of course, we didn't both need to work. So I took the liberty of taking care of our children and left all of the finances up to my husband because, after all, he was an accountant as well. And I just concentrated on the home life and the family. And what in most marriages, if something does go wrong, usually the wife is the last to know. It's like everyone seems to figure it out before
Yeah.
you because you only see what you want to see. And of course, that happened to me. And I was in a situation where, in order to save my own sanity and my own sense of self worth, I had to leave. And
Mm.
I realized pretty quickly that I didn't have any money in my own name. All of our accounts had been set up in my husband's name. I had a business on the side, a taxation practice, and helping women set up their own businesses. And even all that income was going through our family trust, which he controlled. And so I left with nothing, and I had to go
Mm.
on government benefits. It was really touch and go there for a while. It was pretty bad. And I hit rock bottom. I was so depressed. And I realized, oh my God, like if this happens to me and I'm actually a finance professional, how the hell is everyone else coping? Because
Mm.
the money side of things was so stressful because I just didn't have any. I couldn't even defend myself in court, couldn't find any way through. So I thought, I've got to sort this out. And so I ended up going to court. I represented myself. I just researched everything I could, and I won. I won everything and basically was up against five lawyers on his side. And it was quite amazing. I still don't know how I got through it because by the end of it, I was absolutely exhausted. But I'd made new case law. My case had been published, and I thought, right, what am I going to do with all this new knowledge that I have? And I thought, I just want to make a change, and I want to make sure that every woman out there understands how to take responsibility for her own money, whether you're in a marriage or not. I think it's really important for women to know where the money is and what's going on with
Mm.
it, whether they're bringing it in or not. I think it's super important to just talk and make
Mm.
sure that you're a partnership and that you understand what's happening, because just like you can't leave love to one partner in the marriage, you shouldn't leave all the money to one partner in the marriage. You
Mm.
should both contribute and both take some kind of responsibility. Even if you can't financially contribute, you can still contribute your time and learn about how to manage it more.
Julia, that is an
Wow.
amazing, amazing story, and how you represented yourself in court. It's absolutely wonderful. Well done to you for doing
Thanks.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, now I agree. That is really amazing. And you know what? It is always good to hear that it's somebody that comes with a financial background, because I'm sitting here thinking, I don't have any financial background. If I should go through something like that, and I have had in the past, and I also left with nothing, and I
Yeah.
had to start over from scratch. I literally had nothing on my name. And ever since then, it's always been, this fear of what if it happens again, and how do you do it, and how do you manage? So I think we need more people like you in the world
Yeah.
to
Uh,
teach women about
Mm.
this. So would you tell us a little bit about this approach that you followed, and how you actually ended up turning things around for yourself?
right. Well, the first thing is to take away the fear, because when you're in a situation of experiencing fear, your IQ, it's proven in all sorts of research that your IQ drops by up to 50% when you're in times of stress, especially around money. So you can't think straight. You make silly mistakes, silly decisions with money. So that, coupled with a divorce, you can imagine, is quite traumatic for people. So first of all, I'd like to encourage everybody to face their fears and just face what's going on in their finances. And that's not about beating yourself up or going through what's happened in the past. The past is the past. Just leave that there. Just be present, work out where you are, work out where you want to be, and then close the gap. And 80% of that closing the gap is mindset. It's about what's happening between your temples, because everybody knows really how to not have debt. You just spend less than you earn. Same with how to lose weight. You just eat, less calories in, all that kind of stuff. Like, we all know what the mechanics of it is, but the thing that stops all of us from achieving any of our goals is all in the mind. And it's the stories we tell ourselves, like, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve to be wealthy, or that's just for rich people, it's not for me. These are all stories and programs that we gather as we grow up. We learn from the people around us and our parents. And then eventually, when I got into Feng Shui, I realized that all of that was manifested in your surroundings as well. And you can tell, like, what's going on in people's lives when you become familiar with Feng Shui, because it's so important to elevate your wealth consciousness and make sure, if you want to be wealthy, be wealthy in the future, you need to feel it now. So you need to surround yourselves with things that remind you of wealth. It doesn't have to cost a lot, but it could be just some artwork or something that is inspiring and makes you feel wealthy, all of that kind of stuff.
It's very interesting that you say 80% is mindset. And it's the same with habit change as well. It all starts with that mindset, which is plays the biggest role before you can actually start creating those habits. And it seems like everything is just integrated. But Julia, you mentioned Feng Shui, and that is very interesting, because how do you put Feng Shui and money mindset in one sentence? So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah,
Please,
sure.
please. I'm also interested to hear about that. Because Feng Shui, you always hear about Feng Shui in your home for peace and Feng Shui in your home for this, but for money?
Yes.
And has it to do with your home, or has it to do with something else?
Yeah. I think it all just comes down to everything is energy, and even our thoughts are energy. And it's Feng Shui is actually, it's all coming together with quantum physics and things like that now. It's a very old concept, Feng Shui. It was started about 6,000 years ago, but modern science is catching up now, and we're realizing that the things that we surround ourselves with, the people we surround ourselves with, the things we say, the thoughts we have, Feng Shui can be inside and out of the mind. That all affects you. And we all create our own reality. If you keep saying all the time things like, I don't have any money, or money's too hard to come by, or I'm no good with money, you'll manifest that. And so I use Feng Shui with some other, like, mindset coaching to help women, especially, to take a look at their surroundings with a fresh pair of eyes and see where they're lowering their standards, so that if they remove these things that aren't quite how they want to be, they make room to bring in new stuff into their life that is how they do want to be. So decluttering is the first step. Your mind, decluttering your surroundings to make room for new stuff to come in. And then once you have your thoughts positive, then you can start thinking about things you want to bring into your life that represent that life that you want. And before you know it, you will start just subconsciously making different kinds of choices and doing different kinds of habits. And all of a sudden, you are seeing new opportunities to create wealth or create income that were always there, but you just couldn't see them before because you were so focused on scarcity and worried about bills, and you had this fear, and you weren't thinking at 100% of your capacity. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. So, do you make use of the traditional Feng Shui artifacts in your home, like the Feng Shui vase and the bamboo and those type things?
No, I'm a big believer in the fact that Feng Shui should represent your own personal culture, because traditionally Feng Shui, of course, is Chinese. And when it was brought to the West in the 70s, it was really hard for a lot of people to relate to it because not everyone wants Chinese artifacts in their home. It might not suit their style, and it's not our philosophy. It's a different culture. So I practice a Western style of Feng Shui, and it's more about just choosing items that feel good for you and represent what you want to bring into your life. I don't believe that you need to have specific Chinese ornaments or anything, because that's not you and it's not authentic to you. It should come from you, and what your intuition tells you is something that is what or who you aspire to be.
That's interesting. And I think that is something that is really important. What you said right there is, together with the mindset, also making sure that it is natural to you. Otherwise, you're probably not going to keep up with it. And it's also going to distract you maybe from actually get into that energy of attracting.
Yeah, I think it's all about intention as well, and you just need to have an open mind to all of this kind of stuff, because you know what's the harm in trying it? Like it's not going to hurt anybody. If anything, you would just make your surroundings nicer to look at, and create a bit of space, and like it can only help. So I think everyone should just at least try it and be open to it and see what happens. And I think I know that you will be absolutely positively surprised at how many synchronicities come into your life, and just new opportunities just fall into your lap. It's like you just open this window for positive energy and opportunities to come into your life.
Yeah, it is quite interesting that you mentioned the Feng Shui decluttering specifically. It sounds to me like that will basically be the start of the transformation, because, I mean, you need to get rid of the old furniture to bring in the new furniture, right? So is that where you normally start on this journey, by decluttering and then going forward?
No, I wouldn't necessarily change people's furniture, because it doesn't need to be that dramatic.
No. I meant that in a, what do you say, an abstract way, like
abstract way. Yeah. Okay, I understand. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if anything, Feng Shui should be done in small changes, because if you do too much at once, it can create the opposite effect and create a bit of chaos, and there'll be too much energy coming in, and you go through, say, a whole year's worth of transformation in a week, as opposed to, just pacing it out. So I tend to just get people to start with physical decluttering of just stuff that they don't need in their house and that they can do without, and stuff that doesn't bring them joy. And I also get them to do that with their computers and their phone, delete stuff you don't need, make some space. And then, of course, you want to purge all the negative thoughts that you've had. So you would identify all those negative beliefs that are running around in your head, and just get them out onto paper and just get rid of them. So there's lots of different ways to declutter. It's not just in the home. It's habits, it's thoughts, it's your wardrobe, it's how you talk to people. It's all sorts of things.
That's quite interesting, because I did notice that you also have a 5-week program to help and support women to transform their relationship with money, which sounds really interesting. And that is one-on-one coaching, right?
Yeah. So I just think that I was going to do a short course just on finance, and then I thought, no, everyone needs to sort out their head first, because there's no point me teaching somebody how to get their money sorted unless they believe they can have money and they can get more wealth in their life. If you're not open to it, there's no point me telling you. It's like going to a gym and seeing a trainer and having no intention of doing what he says because you feel too tired or something. You need to lift that vibration first. So that's what I do in that course. And I use a Feng Shui prescription for the 5 elements of Feng Shui, which is just helps you identify where you're out of balance in each of the 5 elements of Feng Shui. And then I would give you a prescription for, say, 5 weeks of something little to tweak for each week for 5 weeks. And then the shifts are amazing at the end. And then you're ready for the last sort of 3 weeks to get on top of your finances and automate your savings and set goals and things like that.
That sounds so interesting. I mean, I think a lot of our listeners will be so excited to hear about this because it even sounds fun.
Yeah, it is. It's very fun. Yeah.
I just wanted to know this 8-week program. So after 8 weeks, what can people expect to have happened? Of course, like you said, they've put in the work.
Yeah. So afterwards, completed that program, you will just see money differently and have a more positive attitude to money. And the course is actually called Money is My Lover. And I say that because I truly believe that we should all see money differently. And let's face it, if you can imagine the perfect lover, you're going to want to spend time with it. You're going to want to care for him or her and look after them. And that's the way it should be with your money. So you get out of it what you put in. If you put it to work in the right way, and if you protect it when it comes in, and are just a bit more conscious of how it's going out, and of course more open to earning more and taking advantage of opportunities and not being afraid to take advantage of opportunities, that can dramatically shift your relationship with money. And then before you know it, you not only have more synchronicities of new opportunities to make money, but you've got a system in place for when the money comes on how you're going to look after it with ease because it's all automated.
So, Julia, it seems like you can help every woman with their money blocks going forward.
Yeah.
I think there's so many of us who have these money blocks because it seems like some of us don't want to talk about money. We are scared. We don't want to open our bank accounts because we don't want to see what's going on in there. We don't even want to see money leave our bank account, which I've heard you shouldn't think that way. You shouldn't think of money leaving as a bad thing. It might be a very good thing.
Yeah, that's part of the shift, is to see that money is a form of energy. And just like I don't quote me, I'm not familiar with the Bible, but there's some kind of story about how money is evil, and that's kind of what we've grown up with, those kind of connotations. But what that is trying to say is the hoarding of money is not good, because money is an energy and it needs to come in and go out like the tide. And of course you don't want to lose all of it. You want to keep some and grow it, but that's part of it going out because you're putting it to work to earn money for you. So hoarding to me is just either sticking a whole lot of cash in a bank account and not doing anything with it, or sticking it under your bed or something like that. That to me is hoarding. So if you're going to use your money for good, you're going to either invest it in something that will earn you more, or you can use it for the good of humanity to help other people and a bit of philanthropy, or you use it to invest in shares and other income producing assets so that you make money while you sleep. And this is the key to building wealth and a legacy that you can pass on to your children.
I think just the whole mindset of if you have enough, you can also help those that don't have. Because That's true what you say. A lot of us grow up with the whole thing of rich people are arrogant, or rich people are selfish,
Yeah.
or whatever, and money is evil. But really, if you do have enough money, you are actually able to help people. If you live in poverty, you
No.
cannot help anybody. You can't
And
even
I think
help
also
yourself.
it eliminates that money stress. I mean, if you have that stress on top of everything else, you can't live a life in abundance. So, yeah, that stress relief, I think, is also a good thing.
Yeah, you can't thrive if you don't have money, let's face it. Like it's really it's empowering to have money, because if you do want to help others and you do want to change the world, money makes it so much easier. There's no, you living in poverty is not going to change anything soon. That's like drinking poison and hoping someone else will die. There's nothing positive that comes from that. I really do believe we were all put on this earth to grow and reach out and thrive and reach our full potential, just like a seed for a plant or animals and everything natural in the world. We're all here to grow, and if you can take care of your money, you will grow it, and then you will be able to help your family and pass on those skills to your children. Because let's face it, money is new to women. Only like 2 generations ago, women were considered property. That's massive. Like we've come so far.
And just from a wellness point of view, if you think of wellness, one big part of total wellness is having your mind, your psychological health, also in
Yes.
balance with your physical health. And stress is probably one of the biggest things in our time that's tipping the scales the wrong way, which in effect affects our physical being without us knowing that. And then you would probably know better than what I do, but research has shown that money stress is probably the highest on the list of things that cause stress in
It's
people.
like one of the number one causes reasons for divorce. It's just massive. I think rather than blame money, we should just start just thinking about how we're taking responsibility for that. Because we have, as women, we have all these new rights and legal abilities to earn money and hold assets and grow assets, and it just should be really, we should all be grateful for our ancestors and what they went through to get us here, because it's just amazing. And I really do passionately believe that the world is a better place with wealth in the hands of more wealth in the hands of women. It's not about women versus men. It's just, just bringing that little bit of more equality into who makes the decisions in the world, because I really do think that females and males, we complement each other. We're very different in the way we do money. Say women are wired for safety, and we require money to feel safe, whereas men are wired for power and to compete. It goes back to the warrior, all that kind of stuff, and it's different for them with money. So it's and I think women they have so much more of that nurturing capacity, and they will make sure that there is a bit more quality in the world when it comes to money if more women are in power.
Julia, I want to know, and I think all our listeners would like to know, if you will be able to provide us with maybe just 3 tips of what our listeners can do now in terms of their money mindset.
Sure. Well, first of all, I would try and list out as many negative statements you can recall about money that you might have heard growing up. Like maybe money doesn't grow on trees, or money's hard to come by. Can you think of any of those statements for yourselves?
Oh, yeah. Money doesn't grow on trees. I know that one very well.
My mom used to say,
Yes.
money doesn't grow on my back.
Yeah, so write down as many of them as you can, because again, that's confronting any fears. So write all of them down, and good ones, whatever comes into your mind about sayings that you heard growing up or experiences that you had, and then identify the negative ones and cross them out, and try and flip it into something more positive. So instead of saying money doesn't grow on trees, you might flip it to money is easy to come by. And for some people, that might be really difficult to say. But you know what? When you think about it, it's actually true. Money is easy to come by if you know where to look for it and you're not afraid of taking new opportunities. Nothing risky, but like we've all been trained to have this scarcity mindset that there's not enough money to go around. And if I try and earn more money, I'm going to be offending somebody else, or I'm going to be taking away an opportunity from someone else. And that's just not true. There's more than enough money to go around in the world. It's like the ocean, like you taking a cup of water out of the ocean is not going to leave any less for everyone else. It's an endless supply. So just trying to tweak your mindset about how and identify where you are negative and try and flip it into something positive, and then say that mantra as often as you can. So that's the first tip. And the second tip would be, of course, decluttering. I would pick a room in your house that you spend a lot of time in. If you work from home, maybe it's your office, or maybe it's your bedroom, or maybe it's just the front door, because that's where all of your guests come in, and that's quite, you might greet a lot of people there, and it's important for you that it looks good. So just clear away any clutter in those kind of areas. As I said, only pick one because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. Once you've done one, maybe in a couple of weeks' time or even a month, do another one, but don't go trying to just change the world straight away, or you're going to find things get mixed up a bit too quickly. And, it might be good things coming, but there might be too much at once, and then kind of tips the other way because you get overwhelmed. And then finally, I would also apply that decluttering to your finances. So pick some item of your finances you want to declutter. Maybe it's your purse or your wallet. Go through and clean it out, and make sure if it's broken or there's anything wrong with it that you replace it with or fix it, because you want to have a nice place to house your money that feels good. And you remember, we're treating money like it's your lover, and you want to look after it and you want it to come back. You don't want it to go to somebody else.
Yeah.
And I would also maybe even look at your bank statements and declutter those. There's probably lots of subscriptions that you've got. Might be $5 here and $20 there a month. Just go through them and cull as many as you can that you don't need, and just clean up the vibration of how you manage your money.
Yeah. Those are really good tips. And you also have got a nice free money mindset questionnaire, I think it's called, or money personality or something. And we're going to link that in the show notes. So guys, go and do that. It is really quite enlightening. I've done it. So it is something that really, it just shows you a little bit as to where you are in your relationship with money.
Krishna, what were your results? Do you remember?
Well, I've let me get it open.
That's okay. I should have asked.
I can't remember because I did it late last night, and so I didn't have time to read through it. And I just saw, okay, there's some work to be done. I need to spend time on this. And then I closed
it's just, I find them really interesting. These, the fact that we all have money personalities.
I was like, okay, I know maybe my relationship with money, because when I coach people when it comes to eating healthy and exercise, I also use the relationship analogy, because I think in the end, everything is a relationship. You've got a love-hate relationship with food. So, or food is your comfort, the same as you've got one person that you go to for comfort, food might sometimes be comfort. So that was something that I've always been, comfortable with, but a personality in money, that was something that was new to me.
I think you'll find if you do it with your partner or somebody close to you, your friend or your family, I've found personally it's really helped me because I now understand my sister, and she is the total opposite to me. And there's no one personality that is better than another in these archetypes. Everybody just does it differently. And sometimes we forget that other people are looking at things from a different point of view to you. So I say, for example, I am an accumulator. That's my number one money archetype. That means I love to hoard. I naturally love to hoard money, which is maybe why I was in finance. Whereas my sister her number one is a romantic. So she loves experiences that money can buy. And she is a very stoic believer that as soon as money comes in, you need to spend it on something to give you an experience. So, I mean, she's not ridiculous with money. She doesn't spend more than she earns, and she does buy investments and things. But it used to really bother me that she didn't have a big chunk of savings, and I didn't understand that. But to her, static money made her feel ill because she thought, what a waste. I could be doing something fun with my children or my husband and showing them that I love them. And so now I understand where she's coming from. And it really has brought us together because I can appreciate and respect what she's trying to do. And I actually need a bit more of what she does because I've had to learn to spend more of my money on experiences and to have fun. I didn't used to have fun at all. I just loved being an accountant and working all day. Fun to me was a bit of a waste of money, and holidays were a waste of money because I could be working and earning more money to hoard. So you can see how each of us, it gets a bit unnatural sometimes when you tip over into excess. So everybody has gifts, and everybody also has a shadow side. And it's once you're aware of what they are, you can start to try and manage it a bit better and introduce habits and just new experiences that you probably wouldn't usually do, but they will help you to see a whole different aspect of how to manage your money and therefore open up synchronicities.
Wow, Julia, I think this was a really amazing chat today because I think we've learned, even I've learned so much, and I'm even excited now to go poke around on your website and see what freebies you have, because you have quite a lot of freebies. So our listeners, please go and check out Julia's website for all the interesting blogs she's got on there and the freebies. But Julia, just quickly, where can our listeners get a hold of you or can contact you? We will add all your contact information in the show notes, but if you can just quickly tell our listeners where they can find you.
Sure. Well, my website is loveluckwealth.com, and my social media handles are the same name, just Love Luck Wealth, Facebook and Instagram. So feel free to direct message me through there, or you can contact me through my website. There's a contacts page on there. I also have on the free resources page, which is where this money personality quiz is, you can book in a free discovery session with me to find out more about how I can help you and whether you think that we're a good fit.
Great. Thank you. And Julia, thank you so much for taking your time to chat to us about this today. I think this is a really valuable for all women to hear, that we should not be scared of money like so many of us actually are.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad to be here because I just really think this is an important topic, and I want as many people as possible to hear about it and learn from my mistakes.
I just want to say, I think this has been really valuable because, again, this is we talk all about wellness and we talk all about habit change, and the way in which we react towards money, the way in which we interact with money. It's just one of those habits that we should also focus on and change, because ultimately it is about living the best life we can right here, right now. And like you said, that whole money personality, understanding who you are, understanding what are the things that you have to do. It's the same with everything we do. Maybe you like running, maybe you don't like running, and that's okay. You find something else that works for you. You work with the elements that you have as a person. And I think your view on this is just so, open-minded, and it just really allows for us as people to be in charge of every single area of our lives.
Yeah,
and I think that's
because it's so
important.
possible to have it all. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
If you want to, you can.
Yes. Yeah, I like that.
No, thank you very much. And guys, really go check out our website. There's amazing stuff on there. There's already a couple of Feng Shui tips, which I found was really good. When I read through that, I was like, okay, so how am I going to change my environment where I work specifically for your home office? So a lot of us are currently working at home. And I think for a lot of us, we had to suddenly make a home office. We not necessarily had one. And it's been a depressing road for a lot of people. So maybe you should just feng shui that place that you are working in at the moment, whether it's temporary or not.
Yes, I agree. It cannot do any harm. So why not? It can do wonderful good things.
Great. And thank you all for listening. And please tune in for next week's episode. Thanks, Julia. Thanks, Krishna.
Thank you. See you, ladies.